So, with The Acolyte, it truly boggles my mind that Lucasfilm had the nerve to create a series that is really short, 8 episodes long, where nothing literally happened in the first 3 episodes, then episode 4, it's a filler episode. That leaves you with, of course, 5, 6, 7, and 8 now to really explore the story to see where it all goes, and so far, it's not looking good for Lucasfilm. It is not looking good for Disney and those attached to this project, like Amandla, Stenberg, leslye, headland, Kathleen, Kennedy, and among others out there. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, Kathleen Kennedy has been really heading into damage control day in and day out for the Acolyte, protecting this thing at all costs. They know it's ultimate garbage, we know exactly what it's all about. It is nothing more than a record-breaking disaster for Lucasfilm. This is something that we have never seen before by Lucasfilm under Disney's wing. Now look, I would easily say that this outperforms and dethrones The Last Jedi when it comes to the level of backlash coming from the fans, and rightfully so, based on what we saw with Episode 3, and Episode 4, mind you, I keep having to say this, it's not as bad, nowhere near as bad as Episode 3. But we have to look at the fact here that Episode 4, nothing really happened. It wasn't a good episode, very boring, very flat, didn't go anywhere, and really ended like abruptly just like that. But moving on forward here, a lot of things recently happened with Kathleen Kennedy really going into damage control mode yet again after the Acolyte Episode 4 debuted and everything else happening with the Acolyte ratings disaster. Let's get into this. Now, with the Acolyte ratings disaster only getting worse with each episode for Disney and Lucasfilm, one major development now has to do with the damage control coming from those like Kathleen Kennedy and leslye Headland themselves, protecting the series like no tomorrow. Recently, Kathleen Kennedy delivered the following after the debut of Acolyte Episode 4. What was most important to us with this series was how could we properly adapt this to the way the modern world is perceived, and how that can translate well into the Star Wars world. This is something that both Leslye and Dave knew heading into this, that it was going to be the right way to steer away from George's outlook on the franchise to embrace something for new fans. Examining the criticism that we have noticed, I think that just translates to the day and age that we live in, where not all reviews or critics coming from fans can be taken seriously really anymore. I think that is taking advantage of to fit a narrative coming from fans that aren't necessarily loyal to the brand and what we had built for well over 40 plus years. You guys realize how she is now saying that she is the one who built Star Wars for 40 plus years? That's what she's trying to make it sound like, when in reality, Disney didn't take over Lucasfilm until 2012. Let's just make that clear, everyone. She continues, Leslye is a visionary and deserves all the respect in this world and industry, and witnessing the fans acting in such a way is rather off-putting, to say the least. I think that we are dealing with the constant challenges of the toxic side of the fan base that remains threatened by female leads, as if we are doing this to push away fans, or that this is coming from some sort of an agenda, which is completely false and just part of their narrative that we have been trying to explain effectively to our core customer base for all Lucasfilm projects. There are many inaccurate reviews and critiques out there for the Acolyte that I think fans should carefully examine and think about this on their own, and let the product speak for itself. We are very proud with how Episode 4 adapts to the modern world in very subtle ways, and we plan to focus on that in a more direct way with the remaining episodes as we head into July. It was the opportunity of a lifetime to work with Leslye and Dave on this series to really represent all of these communities. So again, guys, she's confirming that Dave Filoni really gave the okay on the show. He provided a lot of notes for all the episodes. Dave Filoni is not the savior of Star Wars. I keep having to say this. I don't think he's being forced to do anything. I think he's all for it. He has made it openly clear that he loves what leslye Headland did with the Acolyte. And look, he's the chief creative officer. Alright, so he really is able to provide notes and to really guide the creators on everything, whether it's a movie or a TV show, even the ones that he's not involved in. Moving on forward, she goes on to conclude, I am overly proud of Amandla's performance in the series, and how Leslie really wrote her out to be proud as a strong woman in Star Wars that she needs to be. That hero-villain angle is something that we have always wanted to explore with such a fine actress like Amandla. I think the fans need to understand that Star Wars isn't about the fans, it is more catered to the creator, and how they explore these stories on either the big screen, or in this case in people's homes on streaming, and dealing with a toxic demographic is something we always expected to remain loud and opinionated with this series, but after doing our research, we have come to the conclusion that it is nothing more than a minority of fans stirring up noise for no reasons at all. So again, let me just stop here. Let me just say one thing about Kathleen Kennedy, is that she's giving the same corporate robotic speech about the Acolyte. Oh, you know, there's a toxic side of the fandom. Oh, this doesn't matter. They're providing zero reasons as to why they're critiquing this show. And in reality, look, the main reason why people are just fed up with the series is that not only is it canon breaking, but it also really has a lot of poor execution techniques. And what I mean by that is, there's poor acting, there's poor writing, there's poor sets. I mean, some of these sets, by the way, look like it came out of something on PBS. It looks that bad. If you guys really know how sets are built and you look at sets and everything, you can see, especially in episode 4, some of the jungle sets, you can tell it was actually shot on the stagecraft technology in very weird angles and very odd props that were placed on the ground there. But what's interesting about this has a lot to do with Kathleen Kennedy, again, praising Amandla Stenberg as this fine, almighty actress, right? When in reality, what else has she really been in besides The Hunger Games that has been very much well known in pop culture, right? And look, at the same exact time, the characters that she plays are just horrible. Both May and Osha are very much, repetitive characters, I would say, that really have no common sense. The writing is very poor by Leslye Headland and the writers of The Acolyte. They don't know what they're doing with this franchise, nor does Kathleen Kennedy. And even if they know that they are doing something wrong, they're not going to fix anything. They just want to push the Star Wars narrative by forcing the agenda in a popular IP, a popular property like Star Wars. That's really what it's all about at the end of the day. Using the agenda, using the message in popular brands like Marvel, Star Wars, etc., etc. That's what Disney's all about. This is what they've always been about for many years now, you know, in the Bob Iger / Chapek era. So overall, I mean, I think that The Acolyte, we got 4 episodes remaining. It can only get either slightly better or slightly worse at this point. Honestly, the way things are going on right now, I wouldn't be too shocked if we have another episode 3 situation in The Acolyte, though I really highly doubt we're going to get to that level of bad again. I think that episode 3 truly was the peak level of bad in The Acolyte. I think that we really have passed that. But the last few remaining episodes, I mean, we're halfway done with this thing. I think there's no recovery, there's no redemption for this show, and all the creators know it. That's why the marketing of this series came to a dead stop. That's why you're not really seeing ads as much anymore. But overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.